Welcome to the first episode of Inside GWOC. My name is Adam Shepard alongside Jordan Harbeck, who worked with TKDS Sports and Miami Valley Hoop Vault. And today our topic is men's basketball. But first, let's get the stats around GWOC. So Wayne, Centerville, and Miamisburg for boys basketball are still the top three powerhouse teams, with Wayne 6-1, Centerville 5-1, and Miamisburg 5-2 in GWOC. And for girls basketball, we have Centerville 7-1 in the conference, Wayne 6-1 in the conference, and Springboro 6-1 in the conference. And let's just go right into the questions. So first question: how did you get involved with Miami Valley Hoop Vault?
Well, I got involved last spring of 2020. I was already fond of the content that Rob Ellis was putting out, the founder and owner of MV Hoop Vault, and eventually how I got brought on was I was doing my own interview series, similar to you, on my YouTube channel called Between the Lines, and my first interview, I did one with Anthony Johnson, stud for Fairmont's basketball program. I did one with Jalen Razor as well, and Rob noticed those, and he decided to bring me on.
Yeah, like opportunities like that, and Hoop Vault, I mean, him being so young and like your whole staff really being young and still in high school. What is the plan for Hoop Vault after high school?
Well, after high school, me and Rob have both talked about it, what we're going to do as we go to college, and we've done that for, similar personnel in our group because, they're older than us as well,
right.
So they'll reach that point before us. If we do stay close to home for college, we hope to continue doing MV Hoop Vault, and if not, possibly passing it down to someone would be the next goal, but as we move on to other endeavors, but that would be a tough decision to make because, it'd take a lot of responsibility.
Right, and it's a part of you right now.
For sure.
Right. And what new things are coming up for Hoop Vault in the future?
Well, for MV Hoop Vault, we definitely want to, we're always striving to get kids more coverage and, more exposure. So definitely some, as we did earlier, like we did last off season, we did a showcase with some of the top prospects in the senior class, and so they can, have their last chance to get that recognition that they deserve. But coming up this weekend is the tournament draw for the brackets for OHSAA, so we definitely plan on doing a show to cover that.
Yeah, and I recall that there was a lot of colleges that came in attendance to that showcase.
Oh, that was amazing.
And I mean, just for people that want to start something maybe like that in the future, how did you get colleges to come out, and how did you get your name out there?
I think networking is a huge thing for people, and I think that's definitely something to hit on. But for me personally, contacting the colleges was not too difficult. Me, Rob, we really hit on just any colleges. It didn't matter what division. We did prep schools as well. It didn't matter who you were. We wanted you in the building because that would just increase the opportunities for the kids there. And basically, we just send out emails, we send out direct messages, and the surprising thing is it was actually pretty easy to get in contact with these coaches if you really try. So for these kids, I tell them that are my age and even older and some younger, if you really want to play at the next level, get your film together and send it out because it's not that difficult to get a hold of some of these coaches.
Yeah, and do you guys offer film like that? Where you go out and say someone reaches out to you and say, hey, I need some film for some coaches. Do you offer that for them?
Not not directly. We don't advertise it hey, come, we'll make you some film. But if it's a thing, if they came to me, if a player came to me, I need some film, I definitely make them some film, of course. I've made film for Keon Wright and Danye Lewis, two of Fairmont's former players. So hopefully they could increase their coverage. I would have to get a hold of their, huddle film and, certain film to put that together. But yes, of course, anything to help a player reach the next level.
And so at that showcase, what were some big names that the colleges were really interested in?
Well, we did a really good job of getting the top prospects in the area, and I think that is the big reason because of that is because we are 16, so we're able to relate to some of these kids at a different level than some of these adults can. And we're also able to do a good job of mixing and blending and balancing professionalism with just being a kid, being relatable to them. So at the showcase, we were able to get a lot of talent. A few top guys in the area we weren't able to get, unfortunately. Gabe Cups was out of town for AAU tournament because we did that during AAU time, so that was another struggle. Sean Phillips was out of town because he was visiting some prep schools out of state, and so we weren't able to get some of those guys. Keba was down in Florida, visiting prep schools as well. So we were able to get some top prospects. I mean, Anthony McComb, Makai Elmore, among a ton others. Jacob Connor. Jacob Connor was the big name of that night. AJ Braun, and we had so many people in the building. Slam, and it was just it was an amazing experience. MC Hoop Flicks, and it was an amazing experience, especially for a first time.
Right, and it's crazy that it started off like a really small what started 2-3 years ago.
Rob Ellis started it, I believe, 2 seasons ago.
2 seasons ago.
So his, freshman year.
And it's grown so much since that. I mean, if you're getting big magazines like Slam, and you guys have a lot of future to hold, and I mean, you guys are so young, only juniors in high school right now. I mean,
it's unbelievable.
It's crazy how big it's grown. I mean, I remember when it was just a little small, just doing it around, but
exactly.
I mean, you're going everywhere now. You guys cover the top games, and you're respected around a lot of these high schools, even GWOC. I mean, a lot of the athletic directors know highly of your names. They know you guys do great work, and it's really good to see at such a young age.
Yeah, it's amazing, and thankfully, you mentioned athletic directors. They've done an amazing job at letting us into these games during the times we're in. It's hard to get in these games. They're offering just a few amount of tickets per player. So I'm unbelievably grateful to be one of the few players that can make it to these games because, truthfully, it is a whole different experience, and you can see the game through a whole different lens in person compared to via live stream.
Yeah, and even involved with TKDS, as well as me, being a part of that, just commenting, talking like me and you right now, we'd be talking on a basketball game. And that's bringing you great opportunities. It looks good on college resumes, even if you don't go in that field. And you have really made a name for yourself these past couple of years. You just get in contact. I know you get in contact with a lot of the players. You're really close with a lot of the players, and that's good to see that you're not trying to rise above them. You're on the same level as them. You're not gonna try to rig them out.
Exactly.
But you just have heart to hearts with them.
Exactly. I'm just trying to build opportunities for myself, networking, and you talked about the relationships with the players, and one of the teachers here at Fairmont, I have a lot to be thankful for. Miss Holweger, she just taught me about networking and having long-lasting relationships in a healthy way with people, and it's paid off because that's going to create new opportunities for me, and along with another teacher, Mr. Bose, his why statement I learned about the other day, to invest in others so they can succeed. That's amazing. I felt like I could relate to that at another level.
Right. We were just talking about that yesterday. Going with it, and it's crazy. The networking, the opportunities that these schools around the area bring you it's immaculate, and it's
taking advantage of my
right.
resources.
Yep. So I know you've mentioned before that you're doing a lot with Team Flight right now. So what opportunities is Team Flight bringing you?
So basically, there is there's kind of 3 Team Flights. There's the Team Flight Academy. There's the Team Flight, the AAU team, and then there's the Team Flight World. So I'm not associated with the first two, but I am associated. I'm blessed to be associated with the third, Team Flight World. And so another situation that just came out of networking. I was introduced to Matthew Barnes, aka MC Hoopflix, and he, that opportunity. He's been an amazing mentor in my life, and I've only known him for so long. It's not even been a year probably. But just the influence he's had on me has been, amazingly positive. And he ended up getting me in connection with Chris Wright. He loved the work me and Rob were doing, and he felt like we were going to be beneficial to the project they were working on, Team Flight World. So they put us in the Pathway program for the Right Way Foundation. Basically, they want to influence us and help us reach our goals, etc. And then we got introduced to the project. We got to sit in on a few meetings and, throw out some ideas. And Team Flight World is basically a group of 10 boys, 10 girls who from the Dayton area, top prospects who had to try out, make the team. And they'll be going over to Switzerland this summer for the inaugural World of Champions tournament, which will consist of a ton of different countries coming over and competing in a tournament. And I've been blessed to be able to go on that trip along with those, that amazing group of talent and coaches, Coach Cups, Coach Rockhold, etc. So Chris Wright, man, Matt Barnes, so many of them. It's just, been blessed to give me the opportunity to travel overseas, which I've never been overseas. So never left the United States, so it's going to be a huge experience.
Yeah, and that's crazy going to out of country just for a basketball tournament or just for like a big basketball tournament. And it really shows like how much you really love doing what you do. Love. I love what I'm doing right now. I see you out there. I see you doing a lot with a lot of the GWOC schools, a lot with Centerville, Fairmont, Springfield even. You're really close with a lot of the Centerville players, Tom House. Yeah. Had a great game the other day against Trotwood.
Amazing game.
As well as Gabe Cups. How do you
going on that trip as well? So get to deepen the connection.
And then how are you how do you first build those relationships with those players?
That's a good question, Shep. How do we build those relationships at first? So, Tom House. Do you want to know for an example, like how I built a relationship with a certain player? Well, for Gabe Cups, me and him don't have too much of a relationship yet, but
right.
It's gonna build. When we go on that trip, that's definitely someone I'm gonna want to become closer to, because the Centerville program, it's amazing to watch. It's near perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Cups is definitely someone I want to meet. Because Gabe Cups is the celebrity, everyone wants to meet him, and of course I want to be one of those people too. But
right.
I see it through a different lens. Like I want to meet Coach Cups. Like he's building something beautiful over there. So haven't got to build that relationship with them yet, but definitely am looking forward to it, and that just gives me more things to strive for and look forward to. Tom House, how did I build that relationship? So Tom House, I had gotten connection with via DM on Instagram. That's how I communicate with the most players, just through social media. And we had talked some, and kind of just built a relationship slowly. And eventually it led to just more trust. And now we just did an interview a couple weeks ago that should be out soon, and it was a real conversation, and it felt like it. And just some of the little things that people, out of their mannerisms or things they say, like you can tell they have, you've built that relationship up enough for them to, have a little trust in you. Me and Tom, our relationship isn't to the, close friends level or any of that, but it's definitely a connection there.
Right, and it's built up enough to if you reach out to him, he's responding.
Oh yeah, I have his snap. We snap and text before the games. I tell him, good luck, and we talk about after. Congrats.
That's how you
have his number.
So we're gonna move into a little bit of the GWOC perspective now. So who would you say the top players in GWOC are? No doubt.
Top players in GWOC. GWOC's got a lot of youth. A lot of youth, man. Gabe Cupps, Laurent Rice, two of the best sophomores in the state of Ohio. Then you got, let's go team by team. So Centerville, you got Rich Rolfe, Tom House, Gabe Cupps. You got your guys who do the little things perfectly, Jason Hayes, E-Man. And then you got Fairmont. You know, you got Malachi Parker, who's trying to break out. Desan Doucette, work ethic has brought him to a new level of productivity. Anthony Johnson, the same thing. Then you go over to Springfield, Coach McCullough coming over from Thurgood and bringing just a whole new, that Springfield team, I say it a lot. You know, McCullough has brought them to a level of success that no one thought they were going to be at. They are and I say this with the utmost respect, they shouldn't have been as good as they are. And that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. They have fully surpassed expectations. And I think that's due to, Coach McCullough and the staff he's put around them. I forget. He's just brought something new to the program that's amazing, and it's been able to see it flourish. And the players as well have to, respect to them because they've bought in to what he's brought over, and they've just pushed themselves. If you watch the games, some of these games they've kept amazingly close. Thomas Worthington, they beat Miamisburg, I believe. And they play their hearts out. But who else we got? Northmont. They had a good start to their season, going through a little bit of rough patch, but you do have some gems over there. Jordan Smith, Patrick Ivory, Tyron Sturdivant, Brandon Poolers came out of nowhere. Who else do we have? Wayne. Oh my gosh. Coach Martindale leading an amazing program over there. And you just have top to bottom, similar to Centerville, contributors all around. You've got Laurent Rice, Cam Fancher, Malcolm Curry, Elijah Brown. These guys are multi-sport athletes, and they're able to succeed to top-tier levels in both sports. Miamisburg came out of nowhere. Evan Logan and Evan Otteson have just burst through the scene, and then you have your returning guys who are, showing they can consistently contribute at a top level. Anthony Kopic, Alex Vall. And then you got some young guys over there, Daryl Cooper, Jackson McGowan. Who else am I forgetting? Springboro. Coach Kostoff comes from LaSalle, and just same thing as Coach McCullough. Just, we have two amazing additions to the GWOC coaching staff, and they just come in and, Coach Kostoff has came in, and if you watch similar, if you look at the box scores and, the final scores, it might be a little rough. But if you watch the actual game film, you'll see that these players are bought in, they're giving their all, and these games are closer than they should be. And these players, Sam Feldman, Maxim Butler, Khalil Trent, playing amazing basketball, Jaden Brown, a freshman. Talking a little too much here, but I just wanted to get everybody some love.
No, you're good.
Is there anybody I'm forgetting? What team am I forgetting?
Beaver
Creek, Coach Pittman, and what he's got over there, Adam Duvall. They've been, some injuries and some, they've been plagued with some adversity they've had to, go through. But, Kyle Putnam, a prospect I really like, and I've, built a relationship with him because I really like what he's got going on. I really like, that he's, I don't know why I'm saying, over and over, but started the year out on junior varsity and just. Now he's starting varsity. He's went through. He's injured right now, possibly for the rest of the season. But the amazing, climbing that ladder like that, it was fun to see a player do that.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to you saying, a lot of these teams we're still really young. We're used to seeing teams with 4 or 5 seniors. A lot of these teams don't even have that many. Centerville's really being carried by, their juniors, Rich Rolfe and Tom House. Those are the two really good players. And then Fairmont also carried by juniors, Desan Doucette, and then we got Malachi Parker and then Anthony Johnson. Those are the top 3 players, I would say, at Fairmont. Recently they've had a little rough patch with only having about 7 players now, just due to quarantine and everything. But GWOC's still a great conference to be in. It's still so young.
Absolutely. It's one of the best conferences in the state of Ohio, and to see it filled with youth. And, unfortunately, we've had to, the Dayton area's had to deal with some players transferring out to, prep schools and other cities. But the thing about that is, I'm totally fine with that. I respect it because they're trying to put themselves in a better position for success. And if that's what they have to do, they have to do. Like, I'm never going to judge a kid for transferring because I don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Right.
I don't know the little pieces that are going into that. Like, if you see a kid that's transferring from a top program to a lesser program, it raises some questions. Like, why would they do that?
Right. What's going on? And
there's obviously some reason behind that. So I'm never going to judge a kid for transferring. How they handle the transfer situation, it could, you could debate if you can judge that. I mean, but the actual situation of transferring, I'm not going to judge a kid.
Right. And I mean, who would you say? Because I know you just really hit all the teams with, their best players, but who's really just underrated? Like, who's really just slept on?
Underrated. Such a loose term, man, because it's like, how do you define underrated? And we're talking about the GWOC here, correct?
Yes, yes.
Underrated.
Players that are putting in the effort, but in putting in, like, you watch them play, and maybe they just have like 4 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds, but they play a great defensive game. Like, for example, Manuel Dang.
That's what I was going to say.
Yep, he's probably...
Manuel Dang, man. If you watch the game film, it's nuts, man. I made a tweet. I was like, E-Man Dang does the little things so well. And I mean, if you are in the Twitter community for the basketball community in Dayton, you're going to see that tweet a lot. You're going to see the, E-Man Dang does little things well. I mean, he's starting. He's a starter. He's starting for a reason. And the thing with that Centerville program, why I was, hitting on them so well is because 1 through 16, your 16th man on that Centerville program cares about basketball, cares about consistency in work, cares about improving, cares about the program as much as their best player.
Right, and Coach Cups did a great job developing that program. He was at Graham for 10 seasons, and he had seasons that was 26-1, and when he went to Centerville, it was a big shock for everybody, but everybody knew it was kind of coming, having his son, Gabe, playing with big names like Bronny. How well do you think he's made that program in the past seasons he's been there?
First off, I want to hit on another underrated player, Gabe Phillips from Beaver Creek, arguably Defensive Player of the Year in Dayton. I don't even want to take a guess at how many blocks per game he's going, but it's nuts. But question is, how has Coach Cups contributed to Centerville's success in the program?
Yeah.
Well, I'm friends with a few of Centerville's players, and so I, will at times get a little insight behind the scenes about the program and some of the things I've learned that go into preparation and just the heart of that program it's amazing. It's nuts because you just, it's hard to relate to, and I don't know how to word this right, but some of the things that go on behind the scenes, like, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you. If you wanna know, you can watch Chopping Wood or something.
Right,
on Overtime.
Right.
But even Chopping Wood on Overtime, like, they don't really go into all the things preparation wise. Like, it's, some of the things are crazy in an amazing way, in a good way. It's not like Cups is over here running his players to death. Like, I don't mean that preparation wise. I mean, like, just, he cares about the players off the court as much as on the court, and he has an amazing passion for the game, and he puts everything in his players that he can. And the thing is, I haven't even met Coach Cups. I haven't even talked to Coach Cups, so there's probably another level to things that I have yet to comprehend.
Right, and talking to Mr. Bose, who was on the coaching staff at Centerville for the past, he was there for 4 seasons, and he's talking about how he would Coach Cups would unlock the doors before school and let him shoot around, and it's the little things, like,
oh yeah,
you and that is how, like, and you're like, you have all the players there, and I don't know if this is still going on pre-COVID and everything, but if you have all the players there, you're gonna have, like, that's good team chemistry. You wake up in the morning, you get shots up. You don't need, that means you don't have to get shots up in practice, and you're having those and you're able to just run right through practice, and you don't have to go through shooting and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, we know the top 3 teams in GWOC: Miamisburg, Wayne, and Centerville. But I mean, who do you think's gonna really pull off the GWOC championship?
It's between Centerville and Wayne. I love Miamisburg, but it's between Centerville and Wayne. And you know, a lot of people, you know, I hear some people go with Wayne because, well, you know, we saw Centerville and Wayne already face off. Centerville pulls it off, late comeback due to Rich Rolfe and a huge 3 by Jason Hayes. And I mean, the other players that contributed to the score even being that close in the first place, being in an attainable way in the first place. But, you know, Centerville came out with the win. Do I think that it's between Centerville and Wayne? In my opinion, my prediction is Centerville. But Wayne is, it's win or go home for them. They're senior filled. The Centerville guys still have next year, and they'll probably even be better next year than they are this year. The Wayne guys don't have that. They're senior filled. These guys, it's a kill or be killed mentality for them going into the postseason, because if they lose, it's over for a lot of them. Mm-hmm. So I think they'll have a mentality in their head that's going to be it's going to be a dog mentality.
Right, and I mean, if you have that mentality, I mean, you're almost unstoppable. But I mean, they're 2 really great teams, and I mean, they have both of the teams have very good chances of making it very far in this tournament. As I'm leading into my next question, heading into this tournament, we got what's it called? The bids coming up this
tournament
weekend.
draw.
The tournament draw this weekend. Yep. And I mean, who do you think around GWOC, just like the GWOC teams itself heading to the tournament, you could see an upset from?
Springboro, with their hard work and hard play, how they go out there on the court and play, I think there's a possibility, depending on who they face in the first round. Fairmont could get an upset because I feel like they, you know, record-wise, they might not be the favorites against the first team they play. Say they play like a Franklin or something. Franklin just won the SWBL championship, I believe, for their division at least. I'm not sure 100% on the facts, but, you know, people will probably say Franklin are the favorites just because they've had a better season. But Fairmont's probably playing a tougher schedule, and they are, you know, they're going to go in confident after what happened last season. Tough loss to Butler. Sydney, excuse me. Butler was the year before, and they beat them. Sydney was last year, and I don't think they should have lost that game. I do not think they should have lost that game. I don't think, you know, all the Fairmont guys can agree with that should have been a game they won. And they're going to be coming back with a mentality to redeem themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of the same question, but teams around the city that you could see going deep into the tournament.
Are we just talking? We're not talking upset. We're just talking going deep into the tournament.
Just going deep.
Wayne, Centerville, Tippecanoe. Dunbar might have some transfer eligibility issues, so depending on how that goes. Who else do we have? Well, we're talking around the area, so I can't go into Botkins and all that, but Dayton area. Who knows? West Carrollton might, you know, I don't know Alan Lattimore's situation too well right now, so if he is playing, then things could go well for them. Sam Walker's had an amazing season. You know, he's creeping into that top 5 sophomores in Dayton conversation if he's not already in there. I mean, but the thing is, as you move up in the ranks, like it's hard to, you know, name a top 5 for a class. So, but I mean, the stats he's been putting up and the performances, it's amazing. So, who else? Is Purple Shawnee around here? How far is Purple Shawnee? I don't know. I mean, GWOC-wise, Centerville, and Wayne are the two favorites to make a deep tournament run.
You see Miamisburg going anywhere with that?
Yeah. Don't rule out Miamisburg, of course. I mean, Miamisburg, they've got a good group there that wants to win. And I mean, how their season's played out so far, they can win big games. Like, they're not afraid to back down against big teams. So, yeah, of course, Miamisburg.
And then, I mean, Springfield in that 4th position in GWOC. I mean, GWOC's probably one of the toughest conferences around here. But, I mean, they had a little bit of a rocky start, but, I mean, pulling off big wins is key. And I think, do you have a feeling that they could pull something off like that again?
Absolutely. I think that's a team that I just forgot to mention that would absolutely get an upset. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, they're probably one of the biggest dark horses going into this tournament. You've got so many guys that have stepped up. So many guys. You've got Eddie Muhammad, and all these guys were like on junior varsity last year. Going straight to varsity roles, starting varsity, leading. You've got your returner in Josh Tolliver, who a lot expected to just be putting up 30-plus games, 20-plus games every night, carrying this team to losses potentially. And it's just the whole script to this team has flipped upside down. You've got these guys stepping up, Micah Johnson, Eddie Muhammad, J.R. Wells, Vincent Fisher, like all stepping up. You've got a good leader in Kamari Williams coming over from Thurgood. It's amazing to see, you know, and I'm happy for Josh. I'm happy for Josh Tolliver because he's another player I built a relationship with. And, you know, he's been plagued with a little bit of injuries in the preseason. And I know he's got a good work ethic, and he wants the best for that Springfield program. And along with Coach McCullough, I'm happy for him. He seems like an amazing guy, and I'd love to meet him. An amazing coach. So I'm happy that everything's paying off for them.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of these coaches around GWOC right now are like, we've had a lot of new coaches come in besides, I mean, Coach Cups, who else? I know Coach Cups is probably the
Miamisburg coach. I'm not sure when he came in, but
I think he's been there for a while.
Besides that, Beaver Creek's new coach last year, Fairmont new coach, Springboro new coach. I don't know about Northmont. Northmont was there last year, but I don't know how long he's been there. Springfield new coach. So.
And how do you see the future for those new coach teams?
Well, all the new coaches that have stepped in so far have shown that they're, I keep forgetting the word for what they're doing for the program. I keep forgetting the word. They're bringing a new, I forget the word totally, but so far, they've shown that kids want to play for them, you know, and they've brought success in, you know, at least one of their seasons so far in some way. I mean, you know, Fairmont, I would count a successful season last year. They've had a little bit of a rough patch this year, but that's just due to adversity from outside factors. I mean, same with Beaver Creek. I mean, you had seniors, your 2 leading seniors graduate. I mean, it's hard, you know, to bounce back from that. But they had a successful season last year. You know, Fairmont, I would call success because they had big wins against Centerville, Hughes, Springfield, etc. Close game against Wayne. Beaver Creek had a good tournament run, almost beat Lakota East with Nate Johnson, one of the best prospects out of Ohio. Springboro is on track to have a very successful season with the youth they have and how they've already bought into the program. Then who else new do you have? You have Springfield, same situation. They're on track, and they've already showed the potential they have with the upsets they've been pulling off.
And I think Springfield's probably been the most successful out of those new coaching teams.
Yeah.
And I mean, so going into tournament time, what are the struggling teams? What are they going to need to do to pull off those big wins?
Confidence. I think confidence is key. I talked to some players. They go up against some of these top programs, and they're nervous and they lack confidence. Oh, you know, they look at Centerville over here. You know, Gabe Cups and E-Man and Jason and all them taking hella charges last night, and they're like, oh, well, how am I supposed to drive on this team? How am I supposed to rack the ball? How am I gonna? Well, they're face guarding they're face guarding Macomb. I'm the best player on my team. They're going to face guard me. I'm like you have to keep confidence. You have to prepare. I think confidence and preparation will be the key for teams. I think if you prepare right and you go in with confidence, there's nothing to worry about. And if you still come out with the loss, you did all you could.
Right, and I mean, confidence for anything, and I mean, having those players that have a lot of that confidence, that build the confidence for the other players that may be a little nervous. Maybe it's their first tournament on varsity, and I mean, you're going in a little shaky, but I mean, if you have those leadership players, like I'm gonna reference Centerville because I mean, Centerville's got, I mean, they're
I hate to keep bringing
leaders.
them up over and over. It's just they have perfect examples to use.
Right, and they have a good leadership team with Gabe Cups, a sophomore who was was mostly scoring first. I mean, Centerville his freshman year, he was kind of transitioning into that playmaking role, but this year he really he doesn't care about the points. He cares about getting other players the ball. As you see Tom House having outstanding games. I mean, Rich Rolfe grabbing rebounds. I mean, across the board, Centerville, on paper, they could. I mean, they have a good chance at state this year.
They do. I think Moeller is beatable, and I think they can pull it off. I think they could. I truly think they could. Is it going to be difficult? Of course. I think it's going to be super difficult. Is it a possibility? I think very much yes. And on the last thing as well, controlling the controllables. Just don't think about the things you can't control when you go into that postseason, and just have that mentality where it's you have to win or go home. There is no 4-game series. This is not the NBA playoffs. This is you have to every game by game. Take it game by game. Don't look down the road and be like, oh, we got Wayne 3 games later, or you've got to focus on who you have now.
Right.
Prepare and put all the effort you can into that game.
And the GWOC having such a great program with everything. I see a lot of these teams just able to be going and upsetting, but a lot of these younger teams, future-wise, Fairmont, Springboro, I could see. I know they're having a rough season this year, a little bit, but they're so young. They could just have a lot. I mean, they have a lot of talent. I was watching. It was at the beginning of the season watching Maxim Butler. He's what's he, freshman, right?
Yes.
And I see a lot of talent in him. As well as Sam Feldman. Sam Feldman, really just a leading scorer, and he's really picked up the slack this year.
Football is his main sport. Look at him. Look at how he's producing on the basketball side.
Right, and it's great to see, especially with a lot of young talent. I could see next couple years you see a lot of those teams. I think Miamisburg, Centerville, and Wayne are all going to be set. But Fairmont. You're going to have to. A lot of these younger teams, you're going to have to really build a lot in the off season, especially this year. A lot of these teams having quite a bit of seniors next year. But like you said, control the controllable. Focus on what's going on right now. Focus on how it's going right now. Don't worry about next season. Worry about how it is going right now. Mm-hmm. And that's really just. It's really just big things going on. But I want to thank you for being on the show today.
No problem.
This is all the time we have, and this is Inside GWOC, and thank you for joining us.